What was once a solution for the Glock 43 is now something that rivals the Staccato CS. The P365 is an interesting line. It started out as a carry solution and it's worked its way up to a macro, a 17+1 capacity gun that rivals things like the new Staccato CS and the Staccato C2. We're going to get into this, but before we do, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Tag Firearms. If you'd like to learn more about Tag Firearms, go ahead and check them out at their website, tagfirearms.com.
The P365. This gun was originally made to compete with things like the Glock 42 and the 43. Then eventually, it evolved to be able to compete with the 43X and 48. That was in the 365 XL. Now, where we are is a completely different beast. We've evolved all the way up to the macro. And let me show you the macro that I have here today. This is my 365 Mischief PMM macro. And let's get into this. So the 365 macro. When I talk about 365s, I normally am talking about the actual gun, which to me is the FCU. So some people look at 365s and they think it's just supposed to be a small pocket rocket. SIG ended up doing something really unique with this. So what they did is when the 320 came out, the 320 was kind of like an adaptation of the 250 to eliminate the hammer and have it as an FCU gun. This came out after all the things they had learned. What I like about the 365 is once you have that FCU, you can kind of drop it in any module and turn it into whatever you want. So what was once a 10-round gun is now a 17+1 gun that gives you, obviously, like you can see, a full-size grip. A quick walk around on this one. So on this one, we have the Grayguns slide on here with the RMR-CC cut. We have an RMR-CC. We have the thumb safety on here. We have 10/8 precision sights. We have the Mischief machine grip module, the Parker Mountain machine comp. We have, that you cannot see, we have a tactical dev trigger. We have a range tough recoil spring system in here. And we also have an Armory Craft trigger kit in this as well. So what do I think about something like this? So this reminds me of a 1911 when you have a flat back strap on there, and when you have this back strap on there, it kind of feels like a CZ or a 92 series Beretta. The way this is currently configured right now, this performs. So on the channel, if you guys have been paying attention, I've ran 2011s, I've ran 1911s, I've ran Wilsons, you name it. What I would compare this to is probably the Wilson Experior 9 Commander or a Staccato C2. There were times during filming when I was jamming on this that I noticed that I could actually go faster and faster and faster and faster, and the dot just kind of stays there. The combination of this comp, recoil system, and grip module really smoothed this out to a point where I would actually put this against a lot of other configurations. The 365 in its original conception, I'm not sure if they ever meant for it to end up here, but this is where it's at now. And I can honestly tell you, a lot of other options and guns I had that were meant to fit this role, I've gotten away from just because this runs so damn good at a really, really good price point. So as configured, I'm sure you're asking yourself, how much would something like this cost? So speccing this out with a price sheet on this, as you see it right now, you're probably at about $1,800. You're still shy of something like a Staccato C or a Staccato CS, so you're good, but $1,800, and then, you know, obviously you bump whatever you want up for the optic. Something that I was gonna talk about, thumb safety. It's not as easy to get on as it is to get off. But the one thing I like about it is when you start playing with triggers and shoving things in your pants, you know, appendix carry and stuff like that, it just gives me a little bit of added sense of security. Not to mention it is a 365. At one point I had this in like a fanny pack, you know, with nothing to really cover the trigger at that point. It was nice to have a thumb safety that way. The trigger's not going bang. One thing I will also say too, holsters. So when I first got the macro and the original macro FCU, this was able to fit inside of a TXC Glock 48 holster very well. Once I got the Mischief machine grip module, it didn't fit in there anymore. But ironically enough, I was bored the other day and I had an LAS concealment holster that I used for my Nighthawk Agent 2 and my Wilson Experior, since they both share 1911 footprints on the slide and dimensions. This actually drops in and has positive retention on a 1911 holster. Didn't see that coming, but somehow, some way it does. So just a little side note, little life hack for you. If you happen to have a Mischief machine grip module and you have a 1911 holster in Kydex, check and see. It might run if it's a railed 1911 holster. Would I buy one? 100% I would. If you're in the market for a new build, grab an FCU, piece this together, and you're gonna have the dream setup when you're done with this. I will say that this has ran 124, 90 grain, and 147 amazing, and I have had 0 malfunctions once I finally tuned this thing in. All right, that's gonna wrap things up for today, guys, and I will see you guys next time on QRC.